I'm Simply.
I'm Cheezo5, and this is the Two Dads Dash at SGDQ 2018.
We out here, baby. What's your name, sir?
My name is LiamKings. I run Super Mario 64 120 star.
We've got Trihex. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic, bro.
I'm Runnerguy 249,
Okay.
and I run
Really? Literally.
Ocarina of Time.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Oatsngoats, what's your name?
What?
And go.
What's your name?
Oatsngoats.
How you doing, Oatsngoats?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, having a good time. You know, it's always fun at the GDQs.
Yeah, it's always fun.
everybody. How you feeling, TGH?
Feeling pretty good. Yep, it's 3 a.m. We're walking in the rain in the driveway in a parking lot.
Right?
Hotel.
Probably in the way. Somebody trying to get through. Fuck them.
Stivitybobo.
I'm Dickhiskhan. I'm Hagginater.
I'm some guy they found on the street from San Diego.
I've got a couple of questions for you if you think you've got a couple of answers for me.
I might, yeah.
What's one tip you have for somebody that's getting into speedrunning?
Honestly, play for the love and not for the world record glory.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I'm seeing a lot of like new kids who hop in. They see like, you know, the big dick of esports fame or whatever you want to call it, with like being a renowned speedrunner or getting a single on a GDQ and etc. Make sure you love the game first.
You see like someone like Cheese here playing Mario 64. Oh, he's getting a lot of viewers. He's, you know, he's getting all the babes.
A lot of bits.
Yeah, he's getting all the bits, everything. You know, if you don't like Mario 64, that might not be the best option. Just because it's popular doesn't mean that you'll enjoy running it. You're not gonna be able to do attempts if you hate your game. You're gonna get burnt out in a month.
Figure out what your goals are, because if your goal is to improve, then you need to know what you're getting into. You need to know like the hours you need to put in and the kind of practice you need to commit to like every single day.
So you value practice pretty high. Would you say that somebody should spend a lot of time practicing?
If their goal is to improve, yeah. I think in the beginning, like at least 50-50.
That's always like something I wonder about, like the golden ratio of runs to practice. And I think 50-50 is like a perfectly good ratio, especially starting out.
I would give it that a lot.
Pick the most popular games.
Okay.
Don't pick any obscure games. Pick games that people want to watch.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right.
No, I'm just no, if you're getting into speedrunning, I would suggest that you pick a game that you've played probably the most out of any game. A lot of these games are going to be from childhood. For me, it was like Mega Man X. I can't think of a game that I've played more. So naturally, it was easy for me to pick that up and then speedrun that.
Take your time, don't set your bar too high, and
Learn it step by step.
learn it step by step, baby steps. Let yourself learn the strats that people tell you you should learn, and not the advanced strats. Like, you should do this instead of this right away because this is way too hard. And getting into the game, eventually you'll get better and better at the game, and that'll help you get better at those hard tricks.
I would say set realistic goals for like yourself instead of trying to be like the best. Set like easier goals in the beginning, and then do it like one by one until you get to the top.
Play a lot, and by a lot I mean a lot. You know,
Okay.
I have 1,400 hours in Celeste.
Wow.
Which is you know, it's
When did it come out?
it's January, like late January.
Of this year?
Yeah, this year.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
So yeah.
So is Ocarina of Time something that you played as a kid, or was it?
Yeah, it was definitely my favorite game growing up. I enjoyed the adventure, I enjoyed the puzzles, I enjoyed collecting everything, getting 100%.
There you go.
You've been around for, when did you come around the scene?
I remember watching AGDQ 2011.
Right.
And that is the second GDQ I think ever. I got hooked, and I started running Metal Gear Solid like right after that.
I started in October 2015, I think. I started with Pokemon Red, if you can believe that. So I started with an RPG.
Really?
Yeah, I was never good at it. And then I moved into Undertale, which is another RPG, and it was speedrun like an RPG for a while, but then that game broke wide open and became less of an RPG type speedrun and more of like an, not necessarily an action speedrun, but like a glitchy, yeah, definitely skill-based speedrun for sure.
I mean, you've been speedrunning for what, 7-8 months?
It's like 10 now.
Oh, with Mario, you're putting in some crazy hours, aren't you? Like 12 hours a day, is that true?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in school it was less, but since I finished like last month, I've been doing like maybe maybe like 10 to 12 hours, MSR numbers.
My very first game I ever speedran is the
Speedrunning.
I speedran Yoshi's Island first, yes, and it was in 2004.
And you're still speedrunning.
And I'm still
You're more
speedrunning.
involved in Odyssey these days, would you say? Or what's your main thing?
It's Odyssey at this point now.
I found speedrunning in 2006. It was actually from E-Bombs World, if you remember that site, like before YouTube. This was like
No.
really old. I saw the Super Mario Bros. 3 like tool assisted run.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a tool assisted run was. I was like telling all my friends, look at how amazing this player was, because I didn't understand.
Oh,
It was a
yeah.
perfect playthrough, but for me it was like, this guy was a god. And someone actually said he explained what it was, linked me to the SDA forums, and from there I found the Ocarina of Time.
I started in 2015, summer.
I think I started in the summer of 2013.
I started getting into streaming and speedrunning March 2012, but it didn't pick up until that summer.
So all you guys run Banjo?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you run Banjo too as well. Well, all of you guys?
Yeah, we all run
yeah,
the
pretty
TV,
much.
yeah.
So you started around which year exactly?
2013.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been doing it for quite a few years. Started with SM, and I've kind of branched out with a few different games now, but mainly Super Metroid.
You guys haven't reached a point where you get tired of the game, burnt out, that kind of thing. If you have, how do you deal with it?
Sometimes you just get burnt out trying so much and you just need to take a few weeks off. Like, for example, like I was going through that before SGDQ, and being here has kind of helped me like reset my mentality. And now I'm kind of eager to get back and go for the 2OL again. But I noticed like during our race and like from runs I was doing earlier, like I was playing better. Like sometimes you just need to take some time off to really shake off those bad habits.
When it comes to like burning out and like just hating the game and not having any fun, I think that's going to happen to everyone with any game no matter what. A very, very easy way to do an example of this is the 204, because there's me, Hagginator, and Hellfoes. The three of us are very close in skill level. It seemed it was like half a year we were all just getting 205, 205, 205, 205. And we knew we could get 204s the whole time. Yeah. You go through phases where you're like, okay, well, I'm playing so well right now, and I'm enjoying it. And that's when you like get these crazy runs going. And when you don't PB, when you're in that mode enough, then you get into the other mode, which is I hate playing this game. I just want the time, and that's not a healthy.
You get impatient.
But I think it's really hard to even want to take a break at that point, but it's probably best to take a break at that point.
When I get like burnt out, I usually play like a different game. Like I have like a secondary. Like, I'll play like 2E or Donkey Kong 64 instead.
Okay, right. You play Donkey Kong.
Yeah, we all play Mario Party too. And that's a really good game.
Okay.
I think you could definitely get tired of certain aspects of the game. I feel like a game as deep as Ocarina of Time, there's always different things you could be doing. Like I tend to like the bingos and things like that, which I think you could definitely get tired of certain aspects of the game. I feel like a game as deep as Ocarina of Time, there's always different things you could be doing. Like I tend to like the bingos and things like that, which keeps it pretty fresh for me. And it seems like every time you do one, it's different.
If I'm the only thing I get tired of is resetting in womps. That's it. Like I enjoy practice. I enjoy runs when they're out of lobby because lobby is boring.
Yeah. So what I like to do is I'll take a break, or I'll stream the game less because my followers really want to watch that game. So I'll just play it like instead of like 7 hours, I'll play it for 2 or 3, like something just short, and then I'll play games that I really enjoy playing.
It's a tough mix-up, like when you're a speedrun streamer and your followers want to see that game, and if you don't really want to play it, yeah, you kind of have to, you got to put it in somehow, but also mix it up with what games that you actually want to play.
Yeah, exactly, and it's kind of hard because people get discouraged. They get burnt out, and then they lose. Half the viewers are gone because they're like, man, I just want to chill and play another game. But don't let that discourage you. Just play what you want, and don't let it. Don't let it get to you.
The problem I had was I was tethered to my ego. I felt that my self-worth was tethered to how good it was at the game. So I was getting burnt out, but I also wasn't #1 at the game. So I felt like I had to push through all that exhaustion regardless to keep going forward.
Yeah.
So whenever you're burnt out, don't be scared. I think it's honestly, you should value your human, your mental health, and like not grind it to a teeth-shattering thing, because perhaps you push through, right? And you get world record. But then when you do, like you are so done, ready to tap out and say fuck this game forever and never deal with it ever again. And I did not want to hit Yoshi's Island, so I was like, no. I very obviously in 2015 want to play Mario Maker. It's the hot new thing.
Right.
It's the first time I've had a game as interesting and just shouted to me ever since 2004 when I got into the damn thing. It would be criminal of me to not enjoy that, right?
I've definitely gotten burnt out from Undertale for sure. You know, I began to just not enjoy it as much.
Right.
Really?
You know, yeah, it's I don't know, just playing the same game for, especially a game with like Undertale where like there's only one real trick in the run that the run involves for sure. But yeah, it's if to people who are getting burnt out on runs, I would say honestly the best advice I have is to move on to another one, or take an extended break.
Okay.
And like by extended I mean extended, like a month. It comes in stages for sure. Like there's the initial burnout where like you're like, I don't feel like playing this right now,
Right.
but I'm gonna play it anyway. That leads to the total burnout, and nobody wants that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Most people say, you know, when they get burned out, they still try to play the game, but
Yeah.
play other games as well to make them, you know, not only think about that one game, but to keep it up, you know, so they won't lose their consistency, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a different approach, and maybe it works for you, and it could work for many people. I would say that worked for me and Mario as well, so I could agree with you on that one.
I've seen you all here at a GDQ event before, and I hope I see you at future ones. What keeps you coming back? What do you like the most about GDQ, Hag?
Seeing everybody, my favorite people in the world.
Yeah, I would say it's the same for me. The reason I come to Games Done Quick, obviously I've never done a speed run here. I've just attended all of them. It's always fun to just come and meet friends. Like, we're always on Twitch all the time. We're always watching speedruns or doing speedruns on Twitch and having people in our chats. So when we get a chance to all get together to come to an event and like hang out and party and like be friends with each other, that's my favorite part of the Games Done Quick atmosphere.
Despite the fact that, you know, we all run different games, the speedrun community as a whole, you know, we're very close-knit, and it's good to just come together biannually and just spend time together, you know.
Meet some new people.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the best thing about it, to me, is being here with your close friends and everything. You guys are talking, late night talks or whatever. You guys get to really connect. You strengthen the bond between you guys. You know what I mean? And I think that's important. Definitely. Because, you know, it's kind of what it is, but there are a lot of like really introverted people in the community. And this is a way for them to kind of break out of that shell. And that's a good way to kind of segue into, you know, just being able to talk with people. And I think that's really important for this community. And, you know, I just love talking to people in general. So, you know, the speedruns are cool too, I guess.
Not just playing games, but like going out to eat, you know, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Last SGDQ, for example, we had a bet, like the loser of a bingo race had to get Sundayed. And so we went into like the tub of the hotel and like we bought a bunch of ice cream, bought a bunch of hot fudge, and just like poured it on the loser. So
some friendly hazing.
Oh, of course,
always a good time.
It was great, and it's like memories like that make these events so special.
Obviously, people come here to run, and it's like a thrill. You're running in front of a lot of people. Your speed game you've been working on for years.
Yeah.
But for me, I just love the atmosphere and just hanging out with my buds.
I have been to every single GDQ minus the last 4. I'm so OG. I was at the 2009 Speedrunner meetup where we figured out, well, what are we doing? We're just going to MagFest, Museum Games Festival.
Right.
Why don't we do like a GDQ thing next year? So I was at the thing before GDQ even happened.
Wow.
But I've been to the 09 meetup, the 2010 CGDQ, and then from then on, I was at every GDQ and SGDQ ever since. GDQ is the one event, the one environment in my lifetime where I don't have to like dumb down speedrunning. I don't have to like dumb down the unified perception of the importance of frame data or input buffers or any of that. Everyone here gets it. You're in the ultimate like high school simulation of all the cool kids that you find cool, interesting. None of the filler. There's no judgment. There's no you're weird. You're a gamer, or wow, you play video games way too often. There's none of that. You're around speedrunners. They all get it. You love them. It's this giant like spirit bomb of a payoff. Boom. Of being involved in the community, because you get to have just this giant like dopamine rush.
I know.
Of friendship, affection, and just love of things you already do.
For an entire week non-stop.
That makes it sound so good.
Okay. What's your favorite thing about speedrunning?
Oh, my favorite thing about speedrunning, I feel like, you know, you've put in the time, you've worked hard to actually have a tangible result. Like you can see your times getting better. You can, you know, feel over time that you're improving. I feel like the self-improvement aspect.
The sense of progress.
Right. Yeah, the sense of progress, the sense of pride that you can take in, you know, working hard for something and seeing a tangible result. It's like, it doesn't matter, you know, where you came from in life. It doesn't matter who you know. The only thing that matters is, you know, your input, your kind of depth into the game is the output in that final time. And I think it's so pure. It's just a pure aspect of speedrunning.
I've always been obsessed with personal improvement. Yeah. Just improving myself. You know, I've always been a competitive
Like even
person.
before speedrunning? Or?
Yeah, I actually come from a professional athletic background.
Oh, okay.
As well, I was a professional golfer.
Oh.
If you can believe that.
I believe it.
But yeah,
it looks like you golf.
There's a lot of like mind games in golf too.
Yeah,
a lot of thinking.
it's very, very mental.
Right.
And yeah.
Do you wear the gunners with golfing?
No.
Okay.
No, the gunners are actually fairly recent.
Good.
There's a lot of the same like mental concepts that go into both things. You know, they both involve serious mental discipline, you know, a really just strong work ethic, and just tons of dedicated practice. Lots of similar mindsets, like, you know, keeping calm under pressure, as well as just, you know, like staying focused throughout a run, you know, or a round of golf or whatever. Right. You know, lots of similarities between the two things.
Favorite thing about speedrunning? The resets.
Nice.
Really?
Me too.
Yeah, the chokes and the resets.
Just love watching the intro, dude. It's something about it.
Yeah.
It never gets old.
Especially your game, where you just sit there and do nothing for a minute.
Wait, is that actually your favorite thing about speedrunning, is resets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just improving, I think. That's always been the goal, and like it's not always necessarily with times, because you might get stuck on a certain PB for a month or two.
Yeah.
But just being able to notice like incremental improvements in your movement, and maybe like certain splits, gold splits, things like that.
Do gold splits motivate you?
Yeah.
Like some of best, seeing it go down, even if maybe you're not PBing?
Yeah, it's good. Best possible time, having that like as low as possible, I guess.
It sounds bad because an addiction has like a bad connotation behind it.
Right.
But it kind of is like an addiction. Like I want to.
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby, but I just want to keep improving my time. Like
Right.
I love the game so much. What got me into it? I was watching the world record at the time, 2013. I was like, I can do way better than that.
Right.
You know, I can beat these guys. So what I did was I started grinding. I got closer and closer, and it's like you start getting that rush every time you get a PB, and it's I don't know, man. It's just addictive.
It is.
Yeah.
Completely.
There's not a better feeling, especially after like you've had maybe a couple missed runs, or you've gotten close but not quite gotten the PB.
Oh yeah,
You know you're about to get it.
I've been almost broken down, wanting to cry sometimes. You know, it's like it's terrible when you're that close and you're just kind of stuck for even months sometimes. But then when you actually get it, it's just an amazing feeling when you get your goal.
I think for me, my favorite part of speedrunning is streaming and talking to chat. I actually prefer like the entertainment side of it to the competitive side of it. I've just been doing it so long. Like obviously I'm gonna have one of the better times at this point, but
Especially when you're talking about like streaming and starting to actually build a community, and like it becomes an actual source of revenue and like something that you keep up with.
Achieving those goals that you set personally, you know, for me it's a personal thing. I like to push myself and like do the best that I can. I like to shoot for like, you know, not necessarily top times, but good times, you know. Like just improvement in general is just something that fulfills me.
I would say that the best part is that you can play your favorite game like forever, and then it's like better replayability for your favorite game.
Infinite I like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of you just like make longevity out of a game. Like if you just got all 120 stars, and it's like, okay,
how many
what
times
do I do now?
can you do that?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like that's what it was for me with Banjo, because it was like it's been my favorite game forever. So eventually I was like, well, I don't really want to play it anymore. Like, I know where everything is.
Yeah.
I've exhausted every possibility in this game. It's like, speedrunning was great. I got to keep playing Banjo.
It opens new doors.
Guys. Okay, we're good.
Here we go. Rewind. Beep.
Let's pretend like that did not happen.
Beep. Beep. All right, right here is probably good. Okay.
Okay, and action.
So you were asking me about my favorite thing about speedrunning?
Favorite thing about speedrunning.
So a little bit of a guilty pleasure here, but what comes to mind right away is the fact that when I first got into Yoshi Island when I was 15 years old for speedrunning, I wanted to look cool as shit. Yoshi Island, unlike a lot of games, has a lot of expression opportunity. You can like aim eggs backwards. You can like throw it some fucking no lag up tongues and everything else. Like I was a living, breathing montage, you know, whenever I'm doing the run, and it looks inhuman because of my spastically high APM and insane tech skill at the game.
So you get like a gamer high,
like not necessarily for the speed, but for the looks, the charm.
Honestly, yeah, I didn't care about time. I felt like my time was going to be faster than everyone else, regardless. I want my shit to look cool.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
We're in 2018 now. A lot of improvements in the speedrunning community. A lot more people. It's almost exponential.
It's insanity.
Yes.
It's wild. Crazy.
What do you think about the idea of more competition in a sense of, you know, maybe esports level?
It's only a matter of time before it goes like full esports, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's getting to the point where like more and more people are going at it.
Every event's getting bigger.
Yep, exactly.
More exposure.
I've witnessed it firsthand. I was one of those people that came in along with it, with that sort of wave. And it's just, I don't know, it's just going to continue to keep growing.
I'm sponsored by a team in Chiefs too, by Beast Coast. So that's like a newer esports team.
Yeah.
We have other members that are sponsored by Allegiance, Link to the Past randomizers. There have already been tournaments and stuff like that you know, they haven't really been streamed a whole lot, but there have been like money matches.
Really?
Yeah.
For esports, yeah, that'd be interesting, like prize pools. I think that'd be really cool. Try to get it more mainstream. You definitely couldn't get a huge prize pool or like get a lot of viewership for a lot of games, like a lot of smaller ones.
Definitely.
It's a touchy topic, yeah, for sure.
Like it's not realistic for some games, straight up.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the communities would agree. But for the bigger games like Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, and especially these newer ones, Odyssey, I've heard a lot about Celeste, Undertale,
Banjo-Kazooie.
Like even if it's a small tournament, it gives incentive, because the interesting thing about speedrunning, as opposed to like a fighter, like Melee, like you see the top players in Melee, they always end up at the top, right, of every tournament.
Yeah.
But like, for example, the Big Simp Invitational, like Custom versus Binny in grand finals. Like you wouldn't have predicted that looking at the bracket. And I think that's a cool thing about speedrunning.
Speedrunning, as far as esports goes, is not even a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And most of it comes down to the fact that you have to, the biggest challenge is bridging the understanding from the pleb to the speedrun savvy. For example, people make fun of YouTube comments, right? You look at the GDQ uploads, look at YouTube comments, what do they say? That's fake, or that guy's cheating, or why is he using a glitch? Isn't that cheating? And they don't understand speedrun lore. They don't know that this game was not broken in the beginning, and these were painstakingly discovered through the community and collaboration and whatnot. All you have to do is bridge their understanding of like what makes speedrunning great. Every challenge has been overcome, between barrier skip, between zombie hover, 1-star basement, LBJs, you know, etc. Like,
right? Yeah. I get you. We know what you're saying. We know what you're saying.
Just keep that one in there.
Well, you know, I'd like to see speedrunning kind of make a way into the esports scene, but it's really hard to combine, you know, everything. Speedrunning is more like a bunch of different communities that make up a big picture instead of just one game encompassing the entire thing, like Melee, for instance.
Right.
You know, like, how can you really have a tournament for like multiple games?
I think that there's definitely room for like some sort of like competition with people watching, like a sports, like a League of Legends channel, like where they get people to watch the games. It's just weird because like, how much can you do with it? Everyone wants to play the game they want to play, and people like to get as good as like maybe like me, Hag, and Stiv at Banjo-Kazooie would take a very long time. So like, when you do put on a tournament, there's like clear favorites. It's really hard to like make it not unfair, I guess.
I think the mindset totally changes when you're in a tournament-based environment, because like they'll be the best player in the game, but another player who's not as good would be way better at races because they have a better race mindset, more consistency and stuff. But you do have a point though, with obviously there's a difference in skill.
It's really hard to say because speedrunning is you're developing yourself to where in competitive esports right now you're playing like head-to-head against other players.
That's true.
So speedrunning takes a long time to develop. You know, like your speedrun takes time to develop.
Yeah.
Whereas like, you know, you can play a 10-minute match of CSGO and you can figure out who the winner is and you're good to go. So, I don't know, it's something you really need to think about if esports has a place. And I guess it's something that will develop over time, and I hope it grows. I hope People see that as actually like a very good competitive natured hobby.
I did a rookie bingo tournament even a couple years ago, and I gave like the top 3, not a huge sum of money, but it was like a little bit of whatever, just to get people interested in doing it. And I think, you know, that can be a gateway to, you know, maybe perking some people that wouldn't have otherwise seen it.
We need an outro.
An outro?
Yeah.
Thank you, Runnerguy. And then
No, you're stupid.
I'm Simply.
I'm Cheese05.
And this has been the Two Dads Dash Live.